Hello, this is a demo for Project One. I'm going to probably be doing a few of these shorter ones instead of one long, interminable demonstration. There's a lot of things to learn, so a little bit at a time here. Okay, the basic idea I will have explained before you got to this, hopefully. Something about faces. So we're thinking of faces, the faces of different people, um, cross cultural identities, just the look of people, young people. So that's the basic concept, very basic. To begin with, I'd like you to do some research and also some thumbnail sketches. So having done that, you should have some imagery to start with. We're going to be using photography and then pulling it into Illustrator to vectorize it and chop it into pieces. Okay, I'm going to do some preliminary stuff to show you what you should be doing. Okay, so research, I've turned to Getty Images. Getty Images, here we go. Old time, interesting company, Getty. John Paul Getty goes way back to the 1920s with the robber barons, sort of industrialist, capitalist, tons of money family. How they got into photography, I don't know. Who knows? But but that's Getty Images, and they're a good stock photo site. 25 years here, but again, the family goes way back. So a little bit of background information. So Getty Images, I've done a few downloads here. Um, so I'm going to open one. Here's the first one. Open with Photoshop, and then we'll pull it into Illustrator. I'm going to show you a couple different things. All right, here we have him, young person. Now, oh, you know what? Shoot. Hold on. I wanted to show you. Take a look at the image size. See, pretty little. I mean, really little. 88K. That's small. That's a small file. Because Getty Images is not in the business of giving photography away. They want to give you, like maybe a little shot to show your client, and then you'll see if you go on the site, they're selling stuff. They're selling the services of top-notch, high-end, state-of-the-art photographers. So nobody wants to give their work away, of course not. So this is just a little bitty shot, but we're going to use it. I've been using this firm for a long time, so sort of grandfathered in with my Susan, with my what would you call it? My abilities to be able to use their work. Okay, so but we are starting with this little image, and okay, I'm going to put it on the desktop under another name. Okay, save it as Photoshop. All right, here we have it. I'm going to shut it back up. All right, where'd it go? Oh, it saved it into downloads. Okay, here it is. So right click, open with Illustrator. Yeah, it's tiny, tiny little thing, right? Command R shows you your rulers. And I'm going to go Command plus, make it bigger. Now, this is a file from Photoshop pulled into Illustrator. And what we'd like to do is vectorize it, make it shapes, vector shapes, which you know what they are. You know what that means. Okay. Now, this is what you need. This is the options bar. Here's your tools bar. Say your interface doesn't look like this. Look up here. These are different views. Maybe yours is like Essentials. Essentials doesn't have the options bar, which we need. So go up here and say Essentials Classic. Okay, so now we need this for sure. Toolbar we need, okay. Now I'm going to click on this in the selection tool to select it. All right, now it's selected. Up here, it says image trace. So Illustrator, which is where we are, is going to trace all these shapes, all these little shapes. Okay, I'll show you how to do it. So don't hit image trace, number one, don't do that. Hit this tiny little triangle and then say, look at all these choices are interesting, but we're going to go with high fidelity photo. Oops, click on that. And it didn't take very long at all because it's a tiny file. Now the next thing you have to do, and do not do this, do not fail to do this, is hit expand. Okay, see all these weird shapes? These are all vector shapes. So if you get into the direct selection tool, you can see that I can select them, for example, and move that thing. Right there, see, that's a shape, a vector shape, as you have learned last week. Whoops. Click on these tiny little things, and you can move them and change them. All right, I'm gonna get rid of that. Okay, now say, for example, later in life, this is too posterized looking for you, and you'd like it to be a little more realistic, although still vector. I'm going to show you something else. Okay, hold on. Get rid of that guy. Okay, back to I figured out. Okay, the 88K original image that you had, let's take a look at it in Photoshop. Image size. Now, see, it's 1.5 inches by 1 inch, 300 resolution. We're going to make it bigger. So 300 resolution is good. We'll make it, say, 5 inches by 3 inches. Let's even make it bigger than that just to show you something. Hit OK. Took a minute because it's adding quite a large number of pixels. Now see, this is the look of a cranked up photograph. Lots of times you don't necessarily want to do that, add a bunch of pixels to a photo, because that's faking it. What you should do is have a good high resolution, high-end photograph. So instead of faking it with a tiny little thing, but we're aiming for an illustrative style anyway, something that's stylized. It's not a very realistic photograph. It doesn't really matter at this point. I'm just showing you this look. Okay. So save this. So this is big, right? Big size. Now here's my demo file. And now it's 5 megabytes instead of that original 88K. So it's big. Now it's big. Now I'm going to right click that, open it with Illustrator. Still looks small on the screen. It's kind of an optical illusion on a screen. I'm going to go Command plus and make it bigger. Command R for the rulers. 6 inches by 4 something. High res, 300 pixels per inch. Okay. Opened in Illustrator. Click on it to select it. Image trace again. High fidelity photo. And this takes, a little bit of time because there's so many pixels. All right, next step is to hit expand. These are all the shapes. You click off of it, and you'll see, okay, this is all vectorized. These are vector shapes, but it's much more high-res looking. And that happened because we cranked up the resolution in Photoshop, and that's that. Okay, now for your project, the idea really is to get rid of the background. It's probably easier to do that in Photoshop. I'll show you how to do that. But also in Illustrator, get in this tool. Oop, wrong tool. This tool, this tool. Okay, and you can hold down the Shift key and just, well, you can drag a marquee. Oh, that didn't work. Hold on. Dragging, this is called dragging a marquee. It's like holding down the mouse and dragging it, and it selects everything in its path. I think it selected too much because I don't want to take out his chin there. I mean the side of his cheek. One more time. Hold on. Hold down the mouse. Man, mouse is acting finicky. Okay. And you can hit delete. That deletes a good amount of the stuff. The idea really would be probably to just do this in Photoshop to begin with. I think I'll show you that before I conclude this demo. All right, this is one way to get rid of a bunch of stuff. However, do not get in this tool and select and delete, because you'll delete the guy altogether. Okay. Another thing, just to show you. Oops. Okay, never mind. Never mind that. Okay. I think I'll save this and open it in Photoshop and show you how to get rid of the rest of the background. Look at all these choices, they're interesting. I'm just going to say okay. Create a PDF? Nah, we don't really need that right now, but it's good to know it's there. Okay, hit okay. All right, demo 3. All right, see how we're going back from Illustrator to Photoshop, back and forth? They're made to work nicely together. So open with Photoshop. Looks weird. What is that? That's really weird. Well, I don't know what happened, but that was really strange. Let me open this one. Okay. Open with Photoshop. Here's another one. All right. In Photoshop, I'm going to show you how to get rid of this background to silhouette this image. Now, take off the background. You're going to have a problem. That's in layers. I mean, take off the lock. I'm sorry. Okay. Now, I'm looking at this edge. The idea is that we're going to get rid of all these pixels. Okay. There's a few different ways to do it. Here, these are selection tools, right? There's a marquee. I can just select and get rid of a bunch. Get rid of a bunch. You can also do that with this tool. Get rid of a bunch. Here's the magic wand tool. That's pretty handy. It gets rid of too much. And once you're in the magic wand tool, you can see that there's a tolerance number up here. If you make this number lower, it's not going to be as picky, or I mean, it'll be more picky. So it'll select a smaller area. But it's also selecting all the pieces of his shirt. Another thing to look at here with the magic wand tool is whether you have contiguous selected or not. So contiguous means only next to each other, right? Contiguous states of the United States, that's that term. Okay, so if I select contiguous, it can select this, but not the shirt. So like that. So you can get rid of a bunch of that way also. One more way to silhouette this image, which is basically, again, selecting pixels and leaving the guy. Okay. Under select, go to select and mask. Remember you're in Photoshop. Select and mask. It gives you this whole other interface. Alright. Here's some choices here. Okay, take a look at that. And here's the tool. Whoops, darn it. Okay, it's going to use a brush to select what you want to keep. So I'm going to hold down, I'm in this brush. Look at this, here's some other things to look at. The size of the brush is kind of little. I'm going to start with it just to show you. This is adding to the selection. This is subtracting from the selection. Alright, we want to keep this person. I'm going to hold down the brush. Make sure the paints, seems like it's painting these pixels. Okay, so it selected basically kind of like too much in some areas because this color is so close to each other. So I can go back to subtract. Maybe I'll make it a little smaller. I just subtract some of this. Okay, you get the idea. And then if you like it, I'm just taking a look at it. If you don't like it, you can hit clear selection. If you do like it, you hit OK. And then it goes back to your other interface. See? This is the look of Photoshop again. So did it chop off some of his ear? You can enlarge it and take a really good look. Remember, we're still in Photoshop. I'm going to get in the lasso tool and get rid of some of this background. I can hit delete right now, but I want to show you one more thing. Couple more things, actually. Okay, in the lasso tool, here's the word feather. If you put a number on that, it gives you a softer selection. So 3 pixels. And also, I forgot, with the select and mask, the thing is that it makes a mask in the layers palette. See this look? So that means that you haven't really, the idea is that it's a, I can't remember the term, like a non-invasive selection, meaning that you haven't really killed this background altogether. You can still go back to it. I mean, say you're in a situation in which the client says, oh, but we need the stop sign behind that guy, and you don't want to say, oh, well, it's gone forever. You can go back to your original Photoshop image. You should also save it for sure. But anyway, okay. So make sure you're on. If I'm trying to get rid of this, Make sure you're on here. I'm not on here. I'm on the lasso tool, and I put a feather on it. Now I can select this. Oops. And hit delete. And it gets rid of it. Before, when I was on here, I was subtracting from the mask, and it just gave it a weird look. Okay, now still in Photoshop, still not vector, raster image. I can save this, open it in Illustrator, and vectorize it, and then have part of the face that you're going to use for project 1. Okay, that's it. Okay, thank you.